Hi everyone, it's K of K's Creative Home. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be making a patriotic lantern. It's going to be similar to the one we did before, but a little different. This time we're going to be using the 14-inch Wreath Frame from Dollar Tree. We're going to be using the 20-inch flower pot hanger from Dollar Tree. And then we're going to be using the solar light from Dollar Tree. And we're going to be using ribbon of your choice. I chose two contrasting ribbons. So for ribbon number one, I have 9 pieces cut at 23 inches each. So that's a total of 18 feet of ribbon. And the same for ribbon number two, 9 pieces cut at 23 inches each. So you need a total of 18 feet for that. Now if you use one ribbon to do the whole lantern, then you're going to just need a total of 18 and 18 is 36 feet of ribbon. So this is what we're doing for each piece of ribbon. At the end, I don't like raw edges, so I first fold a 1/2 inch in, and that is just so I don't have a raw edge when I'm finished working. When you look inside the lantern, it will look just as neat as it does on the outside. And then at the 2-inch mark from that, I go and fold again to make a complete little pocket there. And I just use the ruler so I have a nice straight fold so that you don't have like a 1/2 inch on one side and a 1/4 inch on the other. So I'm lining it up against my mat there, making sure I'm doing a 1/2 inch straight across, and then 2 inches over from that I did a second fold, and then I just fold it in. And this is what I do for each and every piece of ribbon. And what I'm doing there is tucking in a piece of wire. This ribbon does have wire on the ends, and sometimes they come sticking out and poking out at the wrong angle. So be careful to poke those back inside so you don't get your fingers. Again, we're going to do a 1/2 inch in, create our first fold, and then I slide my ruler over to the 2-inch mark, and then I do my second fold. And then I just fold it over neatly. Okay, so I'm gonna finish this for every piece of ribbon, and I'll be right back. So we're gonna start with our first wreath frame, and right now this is how we usually work with it, where it curves up, but now we want to work with the back where it curves in like a U shape. So what I'm doing is going right to the center in between each crossbar and adding a little bit of glue here, and you see, and then I'm pressing it down. Now be careful, my glue gun is set to a low temp, so I can touch this immediately. If yours is set to a high temp, you're going to burn the craziness out of yourself, so get yourself some finger protectors. And then once I get that down, I fold that last little flap underneath the wreath form there. You can see how I went underneath that last little ring, and so that the ribbon is glued to itself. So let me show you that one more time. I fold the ribbon over right at the center point between the two crossbars, lift that little flap, add in some glue, get that pressed down and adhered to each other, adhered to the wreath form, adhered to the ribbon underneath, and then I'm going to push that little flap down underneath that that last little ring there, and add a little bit of glue so that I'm finally putting the ribbon, gluing it to itself at that final little piece there. And that's because I have that little 1/2 inch fold there, and I don't want it to come flying up. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go around again and do 2 more. Let me show you now. You see I've alternated the ribbon each time. Once I have the red firecracker, and now I'm going to the plaid. I've done that. Now I started this before I started talking to you all, because I had to try a few things out and make sure I was doing it correctly. And yeah, I made a few mistakes that I did not want to show because it would have just confused you. Sometimes I leave my mistakes in for teaching, but this time I'm like, oh Lord, that's going to confuse everybody. So I had a few in here already, and now I'm just showing you what I'm doing. Adding that ribbon, the center between the two crossbars, and glued it, and now I pushed that last piece up under the reframe, and now I'm gluing that down. Okay, let me get this last one done, and I'll be right back. So now I'm going to use the same procedure to add ribbon to each side of my centerpieces, still staying within my little quadrant there. See how I'm making sure it's not past that little crossbar. I'm putting contrasting ribbon to each side of it. So when I finish my lantern, it'll be ribbon 1, ribbon 2, ribbon 1, ribbon 2, all the way around. So beside the plaid, I'm now adding the fireworks ribbon to each side. And just getting it in place first, because like I said, I want to make sure it's not going past that crossbar, because I'm like, you can barely get three of these ribbons on here, because this is 2.5 inch ribbon. You can barely get 3 in each quadrant, and so it's already overlapping the center one a little bit, so I definitely don't want it to go past the crossbar and interfere with the next set. Same process here. I am gluing the center. I'm gluing it first in the middle there. Making sure it's adhered to each other and adhered to the to the wreath frame. This one I forgot to tuck the center one under, so this one you'll see that I can't get these little flaps underneath, but I'm trying my best to make sure the ribbon is still adhered to each other. So I'm taking a minute to peel some of this glue off my hands. Again, if you're flipping through this video and you didn't hear me say it before, my glue gun is set to a low temperature, so I'm able to touch this ribbon with my fingers as I'm gluing it together. If yours is set to a high temperature, please, please, please use some finger protectors. This glue does come right through the ribbon and you will burn yourself. And those burns are not cute. So again, be very careful with that. So again, I'm doing the same procedure, gluing it down on the center here, and trying to catch that round bar in with the glue too, so that my ribbon won't be sliding back and forth when this whole thing is finished. This lantern will be hanging outside. The wind will be bouncing against it, you know, on a daily basis. So I want this thing to stay in place. I don't want to end up with all of my ribbon pushed to one side of my lantern. Okay, so let's got a close-up here, so I'm going to do it again. This time you see I have my firecracker ribbon, say that 3 times fast, in the center between my little crossbars. So to each side I am now adding the plaid. So I got it in place. This time you see I remembered to put it underneath the round ring of the wreath frame. So I'm making sure my little folded in section is down tight, putting in some glue. And I'm sorry you can't see this here, but I am going ribbon to ribbon and glue on that round part of the wreath frame, so that it's, like I said, right where I'm pressing on the ring of the wreath frame there with my thumb. It's because I want the glue to hold it right there in place. Like I said, that's what keeps it from sliding back and forth around the ring. So I got that in. I'm lifting that last little flap there. It's underneath the next little round of the wreath frame, and the ribbon is being adhered to the ribbon this time and not to the frame. Okay, getting that pressed in real good there. And each time I got to get some of this glue off my fingers, because I don't want to be transferring that glue to every little piece of ribbon. Alright, so let's see if we do this one more time. Oh, I'm adding little clamps as I go to kind of help reinforce that glue adhering. And I couldn't get it, you know, in between the ribbons, but on the outer edges I still did it. So one more time here, taking that ribbon, sliding it onto the frame, just making sure again I'm not going over that crossbar to the side. Alright, so then I'm going to lift my little flap here, add the glue in, And see, some of the glue is getting on that fireworker. I'm sorry. Some of the glue actually got to the firecracker ribbon because this piece overlaps it. So I'm gluing it to the firecracker ribbon right there. Fireworker. I must be watching a movie. Too many movies. Okay, so now that little flap there, I'm gluing that so that I can press it down. The ribbon is adhering to itself and even to a part of that center firecracker ribbon. All right, got it that time. Okay, so I got to do this. I've done it 2 times. I have 6 quadrants, so I've got to do this 4 more times. Okay, I think I'm going to fast forward through one, let you watch it one more time, and I'll be right back. And we are back. All right, now we want to take the next wreath frame and we want it curved side up the way we usually use our frame. And the centerpiece from the bottom frame is going to come into be the centerpiece on the top frame, and the overlapping ones on the side of that are going to overlap the same place, same position on this frame. So I started putting them all together and then I said, nope, that's going to be a mess again. Let me do it the same way I did before. Let's do all the center pieces and then bring up those side pieces, and that'll give it a chance for the glue to dry, and everything will be nice and adhered, and I won't be bringing the ribbon up to the wrong spot. So I went to each little quadrant there, grabbed the center ribbon and wrapped it around and held it with my little clamp. And I'm just going to go around and continue to do that, making sure I got the center one each time. Take your time because you will pick up the wrong piece and glue it and then have to do it again. Ask me how I know. Yeah, I had to do that a few times. Cut that out of the video. But anyhow, yeah, I'm still grabbing each centerpiece. So if you're enjoying the video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and please share it with a friend. I'd love to have more people to join our family here. And if you're not a family member, please think about hitting the subscribe button and ringing the bell. And that way you can be notified as I release new videos. Here on this channel right now, what I'm doing is basically wreaths and Dollar Tree wreaths. Wreaths using 6-inch mesh for Dollar Tree wreaths. Wreaths using 10 and 21-inch mesh. I may throw in some floral wreaths. I do those occasionally. And then I'm doing these lanterns, which is my newest segment or whatever you want to call it that I'm adding to the channel. And I do bows. And so we'll see down in the future if I'll add some other things. But I'm really enjoying the lanterns and I'm doing different designs with that. Okay, so what you saw me do a minute ago, I'm sorry I got distracted talking about what we're doing on the channel, was once I got those centerpieces in place, I flipped the entire I flipped the entire lantern over and I glued that centerpiece in place. So now I was looking at adding each side piece to it. Do I do that here? Yeah, I think so. I'm adding it in, putting it right beside it, putting a clamp on that. And this is just almost like impossible to see. But know that everything I did on the top is exactly what I'm doing on the bottom. I'm just making sure each ribbon is lined up in the same place. Go ribbon by ribbon, or you will end up with something crisscrossed. Okay, so like I said, it's really difficult to see where I'm working. Here's a pretty clear shot where I am putting down that flap, and it's still going underneath the round part of the frame there, so that that glue can really adhere the ribbon to the ribbon. Alright, so here's another shot here. Here's my center one. Is this my center one? Yeah, there's nothing beside it. I'm putting that down, same way I did before, then folding that flap up under the Wreath Frame, so I can go back and add some glue there to hold that flap down. First pressing down with my fingers. Again, if you're flipping through this video and you didn't hear me say it before, my glue gun is set to a low temperature. I have to keep saying this because I'm just pressing away with my fingers. I do not want to see anybody burn themselves. So if you're using a high temp glue gun, then please make sure you use some finger protectors. Okay, or use something to press the ribbon together. The glue does seep right through the ribbon, and I do not want you to burn yourself. Only thing I found this first time I'm using the glue gun at a low temperature is to make these lanterns, and I found it to be a lot more stringy, so, but that's better than burning yourself. So now what I'm doing is that plaid ribbon there to the side, I am putting it in place, and this is where I say it's just almost impossible to see in between each ribbon. Now I've got so many going here, but same thing. See, I'm holding it up to make sure I got the right ribbon in the right place, because they should go straight up and down, and then I'm gluing it down the way I normally do. And then I'm going to go to the next little plaid when I got there to the other side of the firecracker ribbon, and put that one down in place. I want to thank everybody who has joined the channel. I thank you all especially for the comments that you've been leaving. You all have been so nice, so wonderful. It's been very encouraging. Actually moves my heart. Somebody almost had me in tears this morning as I was reading some comments. I just really appreciate the nice words you all have to say, the encouragement that you're giving me, and I appreciate you being a part of the channel and watching these videos. I am grateful that you all are saying that you're actually learning, that my instructions are clear. But even still, if you have any questions, please let me know. The goal of this channel is not for me to just make things, it's to teach. And I want to make sure my instructions are clear and that you're learning. And even with these lanterns, I have got to figure out a way to make it clear every step, because this part right here, I haven't figured that out yet. I try to move the ribbon to the side and everything, and it's like still can't see it on camera, but where there's a will, there's a way. So I'm going to figure that part out too. Alright, so I'm going to just go on around this wreath and these wreath frames and finish gluing in every piece of ribbon to this second wreath frame, and then I'll be back. Alright, I got all my ribbons glued in place, and I'm going to take my lantern, hold it up, make sure everything looks straight up and down, and then I'm going to give it a flip so that I'm going back to the initial wreath frame that we worked on which is what I'm calling the top. It doesn't matter. It's the same when you finish top and bottom. But I'm working on this side first because this glue has hopefully dried some. Alright, now I'm trying to figure out how much chain I need to leave once I hook it in. This is how it looks when I hook my chain onto the lantern. So I need to open the chain, hook it onto my wreath frame, and still have enough chain left over to go to the center. And that's going to come to the center so that I can hang my lights. I do not want to use another chain. I'm trying to conserve here. What I initially did was counted over 5, opened up the link, added it to the wreath frame, and did that for all 3. And guess what happened? It was too short. Another mistake I made. Thought I had it figured out. But what I'm doing now is showing you that it is too short. I am trying to take one piece and bring it to the next, and look at how I've missed it by 1 to 2 inches when I looks like a ½ an inch, but I'm kind of over to the side. I'm not at the center. So at any rate, I got to do it again. So I'm going to open up each chain and redo it. Something I just love to do is doing things twice. Okay. So I'm reopening that little link in the chain, and then I've got to separate the 2 prongs so I can get it off of the crossbar. And I'm trying to slide it off of there. It looks like it's a little snug. Once I get it off of that, I take the piece of chain from below, take that off, and then I'll be able to pull the whole link off. And the reason I take the chain apart is because when you're trying to get it on that crossbar, it's kind of in the way. Everything is just too tight. It's alright. I put making it 1 chain again, and then I'm going to tighten everything back up there. And then I couldn't decide if I need to go to the 7th or the 8th link. So I chose the 8th. I think you'll see me count in a minute. First I held it up. And this is what I did before, and it's still ended up too short. But at any rate, I think some of the ease was taken up just by where it's attached, I guess. So I went to number 8, I opened it up, and I did the same thing. Attached it to the the wreath frame right at the crossbar. And if this isn't very clear, I'm going to put a link in the description box, or if I remember, I'll put it right here in the screen, of the very first one I made. And I showed a lot of close-ups of how I added this chain to the crossbar. And I may have to do a shorter video just showing that because I know it's really hard to see here. So putting it back on there, and then I'm going to tighten it back up. And I've got that one back in place. And now I'm going to do it for the other 2. You can see right there, it looks like it's going to be way too long. But in the end, it's not. It makes it. It has a little bit of give in it. So I'm glad about that. It won't be so tight that it's a lot of tension put on the wreath frame. Okay, so I was trying to decide if I could get away without undoing the other ones. But I'm going to do right because it's not going to hang right. Okay, so let me finish. I finished the other 2. And now I'm taking them all out, hooking them together, and this is just a little hook you open and slide the piece in. And I got all 3 together, meeting there in the center finally. I feel like I've achieved something for today. Alright, if I ever get this one on there, I was trying to hook it to both of them. That's why it took me a second. So all 3 are hooked together. And now I get to add my lights. Oh my God, that part is finally done. And you can see how it hangs down a little bit because it's got a little give in it, and that's fine. I'd rather be that way than to be too tight. Okay. So, got that all together, and I am ready to move forward and add my little solar lights. This time I've decided, since this frame is so much bigger, and I think I'm going to do this in the future. I'm going to add 3 lights, 1 to each chain. And you know, I never took a night picture of the other one. I hung one outside, and I got another one to hang outside. I got to remember to go out there at night and take a picture of it for you, and I'll just post it in the community tab, because this one won't be going out until you know, closer to 4th of July, maybe sometime in mid-June. Alright, so I decided to do the 3rd link from the center, and I'm just going to, again, open it up a tiny bit, just enough to slide that little handle from the light, slide that onto it. Yeah, I'm trying to get a picture of how it's going to be. And I'll open it, I'll hang the light, and then I will retighten it. And yeah, I kind of like it being at number 3, so grab my little needle nose pliers, grab that and open it up. This one you don't have to open it completely, it's just enough to slide that handle underneath. So pull it a little teeny bit, slide that handle, and lock it back up. Alright, so I'm going to do that 2 more times, and I will be right back. So I've got all 3 of my lights attached. I can now stand up and hold this up, get my ribbon kind of sorted out because it's all jumbled together there. Get that smoothed out, make sure that the one that's on the, like that's in between the 2 ribbons on each side is, you know, behind those, because the other one should be overlapping it a little bit. And you know, as you hang this, leave this hanging up, over time this will kind of straighten out. Right now it's a little wrinkled because you've been working with it. So here is what the light looks like on the inside. Got everything together just the way it's supposed to be. The whole inside looks neat. So all I have to do is I have to work on getting some of that glue off of the ribbon, get the rest of these clamps off, and voila, we have a patriotic lantern, and I really like it. I'm starting to like these more and more as I get a little better at this, so I thank you for going on this adventure with me. Alright, I'm going to share a few pictures. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I'll be talking with you again real soon.